It has happened before, and no doubt it will happen again. Oklahoma City is drawing water from Lake Canton after drought conditions lower the water level in Lake Hefner, which supplies drinking water to about 1.4 million people. It's legal, but not welcome by folks up in Blaine County. Steve Shaw visited Canton this week to learn more. Steve.
Rich, Canton is a town of around 600 people, 6 miles west of Okeen. During the spring and summer months on the weekends, that number swells to maybe double that. Canton Lake is their lifeblood, and for some, their livelihood. At 8 a.m. Monday, the Army Corps of Engineers opened the gates, and hundreds of millions of gallons of aqua began to gush down the North Canadian River from the Canton Lake Dam. It will go on for several days. This is the second time since August Oklahoma City has requested a billion-gallon-plus draw from Canton Lake, and legally, they have the right. According to a news release sent out by Oklahoma City last Friday, this latest draw will lower Canton Lake by about 2 feet. When the water leaves Canton, it travels down the North Canadian to Bethany, where it either dumps into Lake Overholser in Oklahoma City or continues to Lake Hefner. And Lake Hefner, which was also built in the 1940s, is the lowest it's been in several years. Oklahoma City says the water from Canton Lake will raise the level at Hefner 1.5 feet. They say they need the water.
I question their motives.
90 miles northwest of Lake Hefner, Debbie Robinson and her family operates Lemons and Lace Marketplace in downtown Canton, a tiny area of commerce that depends on revenue from visitors each year.
A couple of feet to us could be our livelihood. That's what I say, and I feel like they're wasting the water. And I have a hard time believing that it's all for their drinking water, like they're telling their people in Oklahoma City.
Debbie's father, Wayne, 85 years ago helped operate the heavy dirt-moving rigs used to build Canton Lake. Curtis Hoskins' grandfather, Leroy, also helped build the lake after he returned from serving in World War II. Curtis is also president of the Canton Lake Association. He says this second draw to Lake Hefner in Oklahoma City will drop Canton Lake to levels not seen since 2011. And that's a slippery slope here.
Now we're basically 2 foot below normal pool level, and a lot of people don't realize Canton Lake's more like a pie plate, instead of a deep cavernous lake. It's pretty flat, has sandy bottom. It covers a lot of surface area, but once you start drawing feet out of it, you'll see in a couple of weeks how far the shoreline actually recedes.
The Overlook Restaurant has been an institution at the Canton Lake Dam since 1953. Carol Gilchrist has co-owned the Overlook for 7 years.
So people quit coming. I mean, if the lake gets so low they can't launch a boat, they come here to boat, ski, swim, fish, and if they can't launch a boat, they don't come.
Ron Champ Delane has operated Canton Foods downtown since 1999. He says draining Canton Lake is short-sighted.
And as dry as it is in the riverbed, most of it won't even make it to Oklahoma City. It'll get soaked up in the riverbed.
Oklahoma City Utilities Department spokesperson Jennifer McClintock says the North Canadian River has been one of Oklahoma City's water sources since the 1800s, and most of the water drawn from Canton Lake does not go to waste.
We do lose about 30% depending upon the conditions. Obviously, when the area is a lot drier, there is more absorption into those natural waterways because it's simply dry. As that water builds, there is less absorption. So it can happen, but we do get the majority of the water here in Oklahoma City.
Another complaint some Canton residents have is back in 2011 when Oklahoma City drew a few billion gallons from Canton Lake. Then Oklahoma City received heavy rains and sent that water surplus down to Texas. McClintock says that's not remotely true.
Well, first of all, there's no transport mechanism to get water down to Texas. Secondly, there's no legal mechanism nor any kind of contract or water compact with the state of Texas that allows us to sell water to Texas. So that's false right off the bat.
So why is it so dry right now anyway? Gary McManus is climatologist for the state.
If we're dealing with drought, I track the drought.
You're the drought guy.
I'm the drought guy, the drought whisperer, except now I'm yelling.
McManus says the western part of the Sooner State has been dealing with a drought since August of 2021. And statewide, there hasn't been substantial rainfall since June 11th of this year.
If you're going to take the water from another part of the state, is in your area where that water is coming to, is to practice some really good conservation efforts. So, we saw that back in 2013 and 14, where you would see people watering their lawns in the heat of the day, and then meanwhile Canton Lake is going dry from those water releases, and the economy's devastated out there. So there's a happy medium between the two. Conserve the water in the areas where the water's going to, and maybe that would help conserve the water where it's coming from.
Jennifer McClintock says an even and odd day lawn watering rule is just one of several water conservation efforts that are encouraged in Oklahoma City. And she says water rates for property owners skyrocket if they use a lot of water.